You're all very, very welcome on this intermittently sunny day with little droplets wrapped in flower petals, as I was calling them a couple of minutes ago, because they were so full and just landing on us, but they've flown away in the wind now. I am not a Galwegian, so I can't claim to have ever known Ma Craven in this building behind me or as Navy, but I've heard wonderful stories that she could rival the Iron Lady, but was a wonderful respecter of all at the same time. So I'm looking forward to hearing more anecdotes on that. This is a wonderful occasion for NUI Galway because we do not as yet have a poetry plaque on campus. So this is a first on two notes. One is a first poetry plaque, and second, it is the very first edition of a new poem by Terry McDonagh, poet, who's standing here in front of me. And so it is the very first edition, or imprint in stone, tablet, whatever you may like to call it. And it is in a very fitting place, as you will see in a couple of moments, and you will hear from Tom Kenny, who is going to introduce him. I am just here to welcome you all and thank you for coming, and thank certain people who have put lots of work into this. One is James Harold, of course, and his small and hard-working founding committee of the Poetry Plaques of Cuirt, Tom Kenny and Moya Cannon, all the Cuirt staff, John Caulfield, our Director of Internal Affairs, NUI Galway, Deirdre Lydon, Arts and Theatre Office. I was off the last 2 weeks, so I can't say that I did anything much except be very encouraging. All of you who have come today, and I'd like to especially welcome Councillor Pádraig Neely, who's on the Cultural Committee, the Cultural SPC in the Galway City Council. It's a great privilege to welcome Tom Kenny of Kenny's Books, a very well-known figure in Galway. And without further ado, I will let Tom Kenny take the floor and say nothing else except to invite you all for tea and coffee afterwards in the back of the bar, seeing as Ma Craven's is no longer open. Thank you.
Well, ócáid NES, ócáid cultúrga, ócáid alianta atá agin anseo inniu. Agus is le duine a fuór a ghradam anseo in Ollscoil na Gaillimhe, right blianta a hin, támuid a ceiliúra inniu. Terry McDonagh is a Kiltimagh born man who came here to college some years ago. He describes himself as a self-employed poet and dramatist, which is a very difficult kind of a job to be in, I suppose. He teaches drama and literature and writing, and particularly in education is his big interest altogether. He has a lot of poetry collections published and books for children. A lot of his career has been spent in Germany, and he writes in German as well, and has published in the German language, and has a distinguished career in Germany in various guises there. His latest collection is called Lady Cassie Peregrine, a collection of poetry about a journey he has done with his wife and his daughter. He wrote once, and I love this quotation, a writer begins where all the ladders start, even if he doesn't know where he is going or what the journey is going to ask of him. It is an exciting, exacting journey, real and symbolic, where the artist moves freely between the conscious world of the daily grind and the semi-conscious veiled world of the imagination. In special moments, the veil is lifted and the two worlds become one. Well, I think this is a special moment where the two worlds have become one, and now where his poem is to be celebrated and to be hung, and what better a location than Ma Craven's, as it has been described. It had many guises, really. This was actually the location of the original sports hall in college about 100 years ago. It was very tiny, and the coffee shop that was here when I came here first was equally very small. It was a two-leveled thing, and then it was knocked down and this was built. And it was run by Ma Craven, who would have put most sergeant majors to shame. She was teak tough, but behind it all, really, there was a soft heart. She took care of an awful lot of students. She put them on, ran tabs for them when they had no money. She was a very keen observer of hangovers, and she nursed many of them with very strong black coffee. But believe me, you could hear her in the aula when she let her roar at anybody. And it didn't matter whether you were a jib or a prof. I don't know if they still have jibs here, do they? I know they're first years, but do they call them jibs anymore? Oh, okay. Yeah, anyway, it didn't matter what your status was in the college. Mark Raven could shift her, believe me. She was very powerful. And then it became Peggy's later, which would have been in Terry's time. And when you think of the kind of creative hub this was and would become, like, this is where the genesis of the Galway Arts Festival began. This is where the genesis of Macbeth was. This is where Druid was taught up in there around these tables. So there's a terrific kind of a cultural history and background attached to this building. And I think it's a little bit like, you didn't think we could add to that much, but we can today and will with Terry's poem. It's about his days in college, and I'm going to ask him to read it first, and then we will unveil the plaque. So, do you mind, Terry, please?
Thank you very much, Tom. That was really nice. It's very strange, really. We talk about the full circle in life, don't we? And I studied here, and now I'm back again. I'm on a stone in the wall, and cast in stone, slab, whatever you want to call it. But it's there for, hopefully, for a long time to come, and it's a great honour and a great privilege. And it's, as I said, it's a full circle because I studied here, but I think it's also a full circle because my brother Frank, who's here today, was talking to Tom Kenny about 9 months ago and said something, well, just Terry to write something, maybe for the Galway Poetry Trail or something, and he said, oh yeah, he said to me, and I said, we'll see. So I started fiddling around, and I came up with this poem here, and Tom liked it, and then he got on to James Harold from the Arts Office. James is here. Thank you very much, James. Thank you, Tom. And then the City Council were involved, which is brilliant. The University, the Cuirt, the festival. And one thing, the whole thing came together. And when you talk about, what used to happen here in Peggy's, coffee, and then Druid started here, I suppose, and Machnas, Pádraig Branagh, being known again. He never went to anything else, so he had to show up here. Ollie Jennings, lots of other things. Things that Gay Mitchell there standing in front of us would have passed here on his way to somewhere or other on the way to Fahey's Field to play football. I just want to say there are a couple of things in the poem before I read it I'd like to say. When I mention things here like Fahey's Field is where we played football, where we used to train. I was on the college team, and the first years we won a Kenna Cup or something, and it was the first time Tony's not here, but he was the great trainer, and Tony used to kick us around the field up there, and it's a great memory. That's why I talk about Fahey's Field here. And the Cellar Bar was a place where we exchanged the notes, because when we were training for football we didn't have much time for college, and anyway we didn't take it all that seriously, because all you had to get was a pass, and that was enough. You weren't too bothered about doing anything else. How can I get a pass? How many questions do I have to have, or Michael D had come in not in the best of shape when he was teaching sociology, and he'd be calling us John and Jim because he'd get our names all mixed up. But that was the reality. You say, oh cheers, Michael D, my name isn't John. So anyway, we had all this kind of stuff, the real life going on, I often laugh when we played football. We'd have a sheet of carbon paper. It was a great man altogether, and you give it to somebody with good handwriting in the days, and they'd give you the notes then afterwards from the lectures, and we'd meet in the cellar and have a couple of pints and exchange the notes. The notes.
front row.
The front row, yeah. So that's about all I'm going to say. I'm going to read the poem now for you, and it's called UCG, as you know. It used to be called UCG in those days, and it's called UCG by degrees. In 4 years of odd socks and hysteria, I whistled my hair loose, smug as a young buck with an ear for tragic flaws, and an eye for vowel shapes and smoky joes. Turnover hadn't become a football term, and seagulls never missed a match or mismatch in Fatty's feet. See in the cellar and bring the lecture notes. Galloping as far as we could from 9 o'clock tutorials, we were the centre of the universe. Imagine. I was completely college till I bagged my belongings, but I still wear the profile well. Thank you very much.
One, two.
It's fairly secure.
Let's do it out here.